In today's bubble.io tutorial, we are going to be building something super useful, an action confirmation pop-up. You know, the kind that asks, are you sure? Before doing something big like deleting a record in the database. It's a great way to help users avoid accidental change or unintended data loss in your application. We will make this a reusable element so you can build it just once and use it wherever necessary in your application. This approach is really efficient because it keeps things consistent throughout your application. Let's dive right in and see how to build this. Back in our Popup app, let's add a new reusable element. Give the reusable element a name and create it. I already have one here. You can design the UI as you see fit. Change the type of element from a group to a pop-up. In here, you need to set one property. Give it whatever name you want, but it's going to be the text that will be in the confirm button. So I'll call mine PTN confirm. Make it a dynamic data and set the type to a text. Give it the default value of confirm and create it. Now let's attach this to the button itself. So in the button, under the label, change it and insert dynamic data and get the pop-ups PTN confirm that we just created. The next step is to create custom states on the reusable element. So click on the reusable element and make sure the reusable element is selected here, and then come here and create a new custom state. I'm going to call this title, and I'm going to give it a state type of text. I'll create another one and I'll call it body, and I'll give it a state type of text as well. Then the third custom state we're going to create here, I'm going to call it btn clicked. So this is going to be a boolean of yes, no, and we need to set the default value in here to no. Now that we have the three custom states created, let's move over to our workflow tab. In here, we need to add a new workflow, and it should be a custom workflow. So create a custom workflow, give it a name, then we need two parameters in here. One will be for the title, which is a text, and we'll make it optional, and the other will be for the body, which is a text as well, and I'll make it optional. So in the action, we need to add an action that sets a state, and the state we're going to set will be the one on the reusable element. So we're going to set the state of the body as well as the state of the title. So the title and the body, and we're getting the title that's coming in from the workflow whenever it's triggered, as well as the body. Then the next step will be to show the pop-up. Then we select our action pop-up. Once we're done there, the next action we need to set is the listener for when the pop-up is closed. So we're going to create a new event, and in that event we need to go under general, and we under elements rather, and we do a pop-up is closed. So when a pop-up is closed, we need to select the pop-up first, and then select the actions that you want to happen when that pop-up has closed, and we are going to set a state when that happens, and the state will be that of the pop-up, and we're going to set the title to null. Or first, let's set the button clicked. We're going to set it to no. Then we'll set the title and the body, and we'll leave them blank. So on our cancel button, let's set another workflow that allows us to hide the pop-up. So we're going to search for the hide action, and we'll select the pop-up. Now by choosing this action, what's going to automatically happen is when the pop-up is hidden, this action is going to be triggered, and then these states are going to be set. On our page here, one last thing we need to do is connect the title and the body to the custom states we created. So in here, insert dynamic data in this text and get the reusable elements custom state that refers to the title, and we do the same for the body. One last action we need to look at is the confirm action. So when the user clicks on this button, we need to add an action, and in this action we need to set a state. We're setting a state of the confirm pop-up, and we are changing the button clicked boolean to yes, and we need one more custom event. So in here, in the custom events, create a new one and set it to, I'll call mine reset underscore click. We don't need any parameter there. All we need to do is set the state of the reusable element button click to no. So that's all this custom event does. And then back in our action confirm button, after we set the state to yes, we need to schedule the custom event, so the one that resets the click, and we do that by looking at schedule a custom event, and the custom event we want to schedule is reset click, and the delay you can put it to 1 second. I'll put mine to 0.1, so it's really fast. Okay, now let's look at how to add this across our platform. So if you look at our app here, I have a sample row of data that can be coming in from your database, right? And we have our delete icon in here. So we're going to see how to implement it on this delete icon, so that when the user clicks here, they receive the pop-up first before the action is implemented. I have a test page with the UI already designed, and the first thing we need to do here is place the pop-up we just created on this page. So under your reusable elements, get the pop-up and place it on the page. If this pop-up, for instance, is deleting a message, now you want to name it accordingly. So action confirmation, you want to say delete message, and then in the button itself you want it to reflect the data that the action that the user is carrying, and in this case is delete message. Now I don't want the user to be able to click out of this pop-up and hide it, so we're going to disable that. Now on the delete button, set a workflow that is going to show the pop-up that we just placed on the page. So, and we are going to do this by triggering the action show pop-up that resides in the reusable element. So under custom events, we're going to trigger a custom event from a reusable element, and the reusable element should be the one you placed on the page. then it's going to be the open pop-up. Now in here we need to set the title. So what title should be shown in this pop-up when the user views it? Delete message is going to be my title. And the body, you can add an arbitrary text in here so that you have freedom to type and see what you're typing. So in here I will say, are you sure you want to delete this message? Can even go ahead to say this action cannot be undone. So let's look at how this is looking on the front end. So in our app, if I click on my delete button, it shows me my confirmation message, as you can see here. Are you sure you want to delete this message? This action cannot be undone. I can cancel that. Now on the delete message or the confirmation button, we need to add one action. So let's go back to our action confirmation pop-up, and in here let's edit the action, and at the end let's hide the pop-up. So at this point you might be asking yourself, well, how do I implement the actual action that deletes the data from the database, right? So let's look at that. There are two approaches that I'm going to show you how to use, how to implement the action here. All right, the first one is straightforward. With our delete action button, we need to set a state outside of the repeating group. Again, this is probably going to be in a repeating group where you're showing a lot of data, and then you want the user to be able to delete one record at a time. So outside of that repeating group, you want to set a custom state, and it can be on your page, or if it's another reusable element, it can be on that reusable element itself. So I'm going to set a custom state for the data type I want the user to be able to delete. So I'm going to, in this instance, say email. Then I will set it to my email data type that I created in the database. And if you look at my database here, I have a data type called email. So I want the users to be able to delete this. So now that I have the email custom state here, I am going to work on the delete workflow. Now at this stage we're showing the pop-up, but what happens after the user clicks on the delete action? We need to create a new workflow event, and under general we need to set a do when condition. Set it to every time, and then choose the pop-up element and select the btn clicked that we created, so the boolean that confirms, and then say when it's yes, right? So when it's yes, we want it to run a workflow, and the workflow will be to delete something from our database, and the thing we need to delete is going to be the custom state. So the page you created and the recent custom state we created, that's what we need to delete. At this point, if we delete, it's still not going to delete the data we set on the page, because we've not actually changed the custom state of that data. So at what point do you change it? You change it when the user clicks on this button here. So back in our app, on this button, right, when the user clicks on that button, we need to set that state first. In the action, the first one we want is to set the state of the page, the thing we want the user to delete, right? and in this instance is the email custom state we created, and then I'm just going to get this group's email. That's it. So when we set that, then we show this pop-up, and then if the user proceeds to delete by clicking here, then we run this workflow here that then deletes that state, and it's going to be the email that we set in it. If this was connected to data in our database, that data will get deleted because of the action we've set under here. All right, so let's look at the next approach to implement the delete functionality. If you do not want to create a custom state on the page itself and then have that custom state be the data type that the user wants to delete, instead of having this button on this page itself, we're going to use this button as a reusable element in itself. So create a new reusable element, give it a name, and you create. I already have one here called delete button, and you want to set the data type to match the data that the user is going to be deleting, or the action that the user is going to be carrying out. You can use a property, or you can set the content here. So in here I have a group, and in this group I'm going to start a workflow on it. Before I do that, I want to place my confirm action in this reusable element. After I place my confirm action here, I'll change the message to delete message, so that the confirm button says delete message. Then on this group where I want the user to click to trigger the action, I'm going to simply trigger an action from a reusable element, which is a custom event, and it's going to be our open pop-up custom event. Then you give it the title, so mine is delete message, and then the body, I'll just write test body here. And after we do that, we are going to set up the custom events or the custom listener. Under general, you want to do a do when condition is true, and every time the confirm action pop-up. So every time the confirm action pop-up is clicked, when the button in it is clicked, so we're checking that by saying is yes, we now want to run an action to delete something, and the thing we're deleting is, you can see this custom definitions email. By this custom definition, we're simply referring to the delete button, so the delete button's email. After that is done, in this action we need to hide it. And the thing we're hiding is the action pop-up. So we know that when a user clicks here, we're going to show them this pop-up, and then when they click on the confirm action button in this pop-up, we're going to carry out this workflow here. All right, so back on our page, on our test page, we currently have in the UI, we currently have this button here that triggers, or that does the same action to delete the state. But we are trying to look at another approach that does not involve this button here, and that involves the reusable element we recently created. So to do that, we are going to hide this button, or rather we're going to change the UI so you can see that we have two different buttons there. When it's hovered, let's make it dark blue, and then we're going to place our delete button reusable element inside the repeating group. And then after that, we need to set the data type to be usually the parent group's thing. So this parent group here, we usually get the email or the data type from there. Then we'll set it in here, parent groups thing. This is what is going to get deleted when the user clicks on this button and confirms the action. And let's take a look at that. So we have two delete buttons here. This is the one that is on the page, and this is the one that is a reusable element. So if we click on it, we get this, and as you can see, we are sending the test body. If I cancel and click on this, you see that's the one that's on the page. So in this one, we get the test body, and if we delete, it runs the workflow and it deletes the data we're sending through. And as you've noticed, you can add these confirmation pop-up as many times as possible. So if I had another data type here, let's say for instance, um, delete my chats or delete my inbox or whatever data type you have here, or even delete users, all I need to do is just add another confirmation pop-up and call it delete user and run the same workflows on it. So here is the functionality in action in an actual app I built for a client, where if you click on the delete button, you need to confirm if you want to delete the data type that the user has selected. And if the user take yes delete, then we remove the data type from the database and we delete it, as you can see there. Or if they take cancel, then we do not delete that data type. All right, so that was it for our tutorial today, and until next time, stay blessed.